Sakap Fet! Welcome to the CINEMA SMOOTHIE. My name is Benjamin Michel, and I'll be your host as we explore the art, the technique, and the gear needed to make your own DIY and indie film productions at a high quality and a low cost. Today we're going to talk about the Great 8. This is the Panasonic GX8, and I've had my hands on this camera for some time now, and I'm really impressed by its ability and its quality, the kind of things that you can get out of this camera. It's reminiscent of a film camera in its build. It looks almost like an old school Leica, like the M2 here. This is really a nice feature that even the GH5, the GH5S, the GH4, the A7S II don't have. It's this articulating viewfinder. That's really a nice touch. If you want to get different kinds of shots, you can just look through the viewfinder at different angles that you can't necessarily get with a camera that's just fixed looking through one way. The third thing I like about this camera is that it's 4K. Obviously 4K is becoming something more and more relevant for a lot of filmmakers. And there's even 4K TVs coming out, but we're still very much in 1080 world. It's nice to have 4K as an option in the camera. You know, you can get more detail. You have a little bit more room in post to play with the image. The quality's great. I'm gonna show you some examples of some things that I've shot with the 4K.
Comments I'm getting from my taste testers is that, yo, and it's you know, not too sweet, but just sweet enough, and it's quite delicious.
The fourth thing I like about this camera is that it's fairly easy to use, and it also has some of the features, more professional features. I think Panasonic actually made this camera more geared towards prosumer, maybe to some extent professional photographers. I definitely have used it for professional work, and it has a great image. It's a really interesting price point for a weather-sealed 4K camera that you can really get stunning quality out of. You know, I'm just so happy with what it can produce. Now there are limitations. It's not, you know, the camera for everyone, but for just under $1,000 or even less in some cases, you can pick up this camera brand new. And you might have noticed, it actually, there's a piece of it that came off. This was the piece that's right next to the shutter there. It's like a dial. That's one thing I wanted to note that was just a little off about the camera. It doesn't affect the way that it works or anything, but it just cosmetically, it's not a good look. It's not the best in low light, but it's pretty good in most situations. And really the low light issue, you know, just to kind of dive into that a little bit. If you're shooting a narrative, you're gonna want to have some lights to make sure that your subject is lit correctly. You never want to be in a situation where you're trying to tell a story and it's too dark, no matter what kind of camera you have. All right, so those were my 5 favorite things about the Panasonic GX8, AKA the Great 8. It's a camera that I think a lot of people should, check out, at least rent it or get your hands on it, try it out, see if it's a fit for you. If you got a little bit of money, you're on a budget, and you can't quite afford some of those other cameras, I would definitely recommend this camera. So that about wraps it up for the show today. Thank you for tuning in to the Cinema Smoothie. If you appreciate the info and the insight given here, please hit that subscribe button and check out the links below. Until next time, bless up.
Valoriser yon maman kawè, pour faire aux enfants venir en grandeur. Non pas ça fini payer maman nous, pour ça t'es déjà fait pour nous.